Hello everyone, I'm Dan Spadafora. He is Jordan Boze, my partner alongside of me today, and this is a bit of a history this afternoon. Grand Valley's first ever student broadcast on their only student-run television station, GVTV. Now I know what you're thinking, we're at the basketball arena, we must be broadcasting a basketball game. No, that's not the case. We're broadcasting dodgeball of all things, Jordan, and,
that is right.
I know what all of you are thinking, but dodgeball in Grand Valley's history is more of a powerhouse, Jordan, and the dodgeball program here at Grand Valley, 4 national titles, and today they take on another powerhouse school in Michigan State.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. This is a big step towards official broadcasting for GVTV and a big step forward for club sports as well. You know, this is a really exciting time for GVTV and GVSU Dodgeball.
Now, GVSU Dodgeball comes into the NCDA, the National Collegiate Dodgeball Association, with the number 6 ranking. Michigan State comes in with the number 3 ranking. They bring in a record of 7-1, while Grand Valley has a 3-1 record. No coaches on these teams, all captains and assistant captains. GVSU, Mark Trappetti is the captain for Grand Valley, and although confident, Grand Valley has never lost to Michigan State. Michigan State has a 7-1 record. They've played some very tough challenges today, and that unbeaten streak against Michigan State may come to an end today.
Yeah, we were watching both teams warm up, and Michigan State's looking really good, but you know, Grand Valley has history on their side. We'll see if they can keep it going.
And one thing to note today, something that Grand Valley did last game, they played Saginaw Valley State at Saginaw Valley, and the team that won the national championship last season, and handed Grand Valley their first loss this season. And I know you know Mark pretty well. I'm sure that was a difficult loss for him and the squad.
Yeah, you know, Grand Valley has a really, like you mentioned earlier, Grand Valley has a really historical program, and you know, anytime you take a loss, it's tough for a team. But I think they're really looking forward to getting the season going in full swing.
Well, we're just about ready to begin this first ever broadcast on GVSU's student-run television station here at the Fieldhouse. GVSU Dodgeball getting ready to take on Michigan State University from the Fieldhouse on this December 2nd, 2012. He's Jordan Boze. I'm Dan Spadafora. Stick around, and we'll bring you the first ever broadcast and GVSU Dodgeball here on GVTV. So we are underway here at GVSU's Fieldhouse. Dan Spadafora alongside Jordan Boze. Jordan, we're seeing some action on the field. Mark Trappetti leading the way at center court. Of course, I think it's important to note that this game, as we get going, for those of you not familiar with dodgeball, it's 2 halves, 25-minute halves, and Michigan State pushing the pressure right now with control of the balls right now.
Yeah, you know, collegiate dodgeball is not your average backyard dodgeball game. You see these teams very organized, coming forward and defending. And there is a shot clock in dodgeball. We should also mention that as you hear those countdowns.
Center referee right at the scorer's table, initiating control in Grand Valley. You're going to notice all game long is both squads will be moving back and forth, balls throwing all across the field, and they start the game with 15 players on each side and, of course, 5 players on the bench. If you hit a player, obviously the ball drops, the player gets knocked out. You can block a ball. We just saw one of the balls get blocked there. And if you catch the ball, one of your teammates off the bench comes back in, and a player that's thrown the ball is now out.
Right, and catching the ball is a lot more important in collegiate dodgeball than in your regular gym dodgeball game. Catching a dodgeball is actually a 2-person swing, like you mentioned. You know, one person goes out, one of your team comes in.
Right there, we just saw GVSU lose one of its seniors, Ryan Aberson's son from Wyoming, Michigan. He heads to the bench after a state attack. Michigan State controlling the action, no hits there. GVSU responding the other way. Quickly forward, no hits there. Michigan State coming back the other way. Again, this is the only home game so far this season for Grand Valley. Michigan State ranked number 3 in the NCDA. Mark Trappetti pushing the pressure, falling down at center court. He's going to have to back up quickly. No ball in his hand. In front of him is Ryan Knight, the sophomore from New Boston, Michigan.
Yeah, you know, we got a chance to talk to Mark and some of the other GVSU dodgeball players before the game, and he mentioned the fact that they really want to use their athleticism to push the pace of the game, and we're seeing that so far. They've been really active on these counterattacks, and it's really showing.
Nice strike there. Number 42, Will Hack, the senior from Michigan State, has been eliminated. Grand Valley pushing the pressure back the other way, leading the charge for GVSU. That's number 34, Ryan Aberson again. Is out at center court. In the neutral ice, you notice the center line, the main black line at the center, that's the neutral territory. There's white lines on either side. Either team can be in the center area, but GVSU cannot cross the far line, otherwise they get eliminated. Grand Valley right now, I don't believe any player besides Ryan has been eliminated right now, and they're certainly leading in terms of numbers. Michigan State on this side down to few players. And there's a catch right there by Michigan State, number 13 for Grand Valley. Josh Stevenson is eliminated. 21:39 on the clock, no score here from the field house.
It also means one of Michigan State's players comes back in. That's number 6 right there. You see all that?
Grand Valley pushing the pressure once again. Another throw, another block, couple blocks on the state end. GVSU's going to have to retreat back. Clearly, though, they have more numbers than Michigan State. And another thing we should point out, too, this is a co-rec league. Although Grand Valley, the Lakers, they don't have any women on their squad right now. Michigan State, you can see they have a player that is a female. That is Nicole Halbertson. She's a senior, and she's still alive right now, so doing much better than her female counterparts so far today.
She is indeed.
21-18, no score from Grand Valley's Fieldhouse. We have a stop in action right now. A couple of the referees in center court. They're not wearing official referees' gears, but they are the officiators today, discussing some things. I'm going to get some start in action right again. So we begin the attack once again. Grand Valley pushing the court once more.
See a massive barrage there.
A lot of attack. Michigan State responding the other way. Quick throw in, dodge, another attack. Sam Hiller from Michigan State pushes forward and retreats. Lull in the action right now. Here comes Michigan State now, out to center court. Shot clock under 10. No hits. Grand Valley responds. Ryan Trippetti with a kill. Number 6 for Michigan State. Mike Van Erman, the junior, is eliminated. And you mentioned to me, Mark Trippetti, the captain, he wears the number 8. He wears the C for good reason, because he's got quite the throw on his arm.
Yes, he is indeed. And, you know, I've talked to him on multiple occasions. He has been clocked at throwing one of these dodgeballs at over 75 miles an hour. And what's even crazier is the fact that he isn't even the fastest thrower in the league. He mentioned to us before the game that there's a player from Kentucky that has been clocked at throwing over 80 miles an hour. So, you know, these guys know what they're doing, and they know how to throw. They've got quite an arm on them.
It's pretty impressive. Another 2 players left now on the GVS Michigan State side, and the women out there, Nicole Halbertson, still alive. Down to 2 players for State. Grand Valley dominating so far in the early going from the field house. Quick attack forward. No kill there. A couple players still alive for State. We're only 5.5 minutes into today's game. Still no score. Remember, if you eliminate all the players on the opposing side, you get the first point of the day. GVSU looking to do that here. Trippetti with a throw. He misses. State staying alive with 2. And right now, Jordan, things looking a little bleak for State. If they want to get back into this first point, they're going to have to make some catches.
Yes. You know, catches, like I mentioned earlier, catches are so important in this game. Mark cautioned us earlier that Michigan State has very good catching ability, so they are going to want to be careful moving forward. You know, they don't want to have to give Michigan State any more players than they already have.
Grand Valley moving forward. Number 16 for GVSU is Pat Talsma. Talsma with a throw on the right side. He misses. Far forward. There's a catch, and the woman is out. Nicole Halbertson down to 1 player. GVSU, they've eliminated all the players on the court. They get the first point. Grand Valley up 1-0. 18:53 remaining on the first half clock. And coming in today, Mark, we mentioned how we thought Michigan State was going to slow the game down. That's one thing Mark told us today in the pregame. Michigan State with the higher ranking, they've had a stronger schedule, but GVSU jumps out strong and a perfect start for them today.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we saw in that first match, that first point, GVSU was pushing the pace a lot, and making quick counterattacks, taking advantage of their athleticism, and you see the benefits of that in the first point.
So now something we couldn't do at the top of this broadcast because we struggled to get everything hooked up and ready to go. After GVSU scores the first point, as you can see, 10 balls in play, 4 balls at center court, 3 balls on the team sidelines at center, and that is the neutral territory. At the start of the whistle, each team will race to the center court, and one of the more exciting parts of this game, when a barrage of attacks are usually thrown, players can get eliminated during this portion of the game, and it's usually a make or break in terms of the mentality of that entire point, is how you can get out from the start whistle.
Right, and it has a lot to do with the ball control throughout the entire rest of the game, because if you can get out and get those balls first thing, you're going to have a major advantage as the two teams prepare to start.
And we begin point number 2. Teams race out to center. A couple players hit already. GVSU gets knocked out. A couple players get eliminated. State clearly advantage here on this second point. Number 9, Vince Baggert has been eliminated for Grand Valley. And it looks like Mark Trippetti has actually been eliminated. The captain is out. So Grand Valley, their hard thrower has been eliminated. Now State trying to tie things up here with momentum at center. Down by 1, 18-25 remaining in this first half. Quick throws, Grand Valley.
Yeah, and you can hear Mark barking orders even from the sideline. You know, this is a team game. And even while he's been eliminated, he's still doing good duty as captain, telling his team what to do and when to do it.
That's something that Mark mentioned to us in the pregame, too, is how that, you know, no matter what game they're in or what situation, they're always confident. And that's going to be important in a game like today, a very evenly matched game, a game, again, that the Lakers, they've never lost to Michigan State. So despite in situations like they're facing in this second point where they're clearly down to Michigan State's numbers, they have to remain confident, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see that.
Absolutely. You know, one thing I do find interesting looking at the players on the court is that Michigan State only has 2 substitutes right now, as opposed to Grand Valley's multiple substitutes, and I wonder if that'll play into effect later on.
Based on the rules, you're allowed 5 players on the bench, so I wonder how many of those Grand Valley players over there are actually available to come in. Michigan State, as you can see, only have a couple players on the bench, although they are leading right now in this point. Several players at center looking to attack. Missed there, responded throw, no hits there. We remain, clock continues to run. Grand Valley up 1-0. Less than 17 minutes remaining in this first half. State throws and missed. GVSU responds, and there's a kill. Nice throw by number 11, the Ryan Knight, sophomore from New Boston, gets a kill, and Michigan State now.
I will also take this time to point out that both teams have a separate shot clock that they must throw. That's why you're hearing 2 different numbers called at different times.
Can be a bit confusing, and in many times it's hard to keep track of the action, because at any point in today's game you could see 5 balls be 10 balls be thrown at once.
Right.
Grand Valley responding, and there's a miss. Another throw. And, of course, you can see the Michigan State and Grand Valley players holding on to balls not only to throw them, but to block throws. That's an important part of the game.
Right, but one little caveat to that rule is that if you drop a ball when you're blocking, you still are out. If you lose control of the ball that you're blocking with, the other team it's a hit and you are out.
Grand Valley responding. And one thing Mark Trippetti mentioned to me, the captain for Grand Valley, he was worried how Michigan State was going to be able to slow the game down. He told me he wanted to apply pressure, move the pace forward, and keep things moving. And right now, though Grand Valley is up 1-0, the pace is slow right now, which tends to be in Michigan State's favor. GVSU responding. That's number 22, Austin Morley, out there on the near side part of the court. GVSU taking their time. Control now. Clearly control the balls. There's a barrage of throws. Couple players did not get eliminated. No hits there. Number 4 for Grand Valley, Kevin Bailey, got eliminated. So State with another kill. It's really interesting too, Mark, or Jordan, as we see both these squads move back and forth, the ebb and flow of this game, how you can, if you have how you control the ball, you can dictate the pressure and dictate really center court, because the game moves back and forth quickly all the time.
Absolutely. You just saw a ball bounce off the backboard right there. And we talked to Mark beforehand about the basketball hoops, excuse me. And it is a little bit of a hindrance for them, but it can also be a benefit, because as you just saw, the balls can hit off that and bounce right back to you. So there are benefits and detriments to having those on the court, but you know, this is a primarily basketball arena, so you have to live with what you got.
Dan Spadafora alongside Jordan Boze, and GVTV's first ever sports broadcast here. We're broadcasting GVSU Dodgeball. They're taking on the Spartans from Michigan State, what could be their only home game of the season, and right now they've jumped out to the early 1-0 lead. Here in point number 2, though, they're down to Michigan State, and it looks like they might have evened things up a little bit after being down early. Michigan State coming back the other way, controlling the balls now at center. Shot clock's being called. Grand Valley responding. Remember, the key thing is if you hit a player and the ball falls to the ground, that player who was hit is out. If the ball ricochets off a player and is caught, the thrower is out. There's a catch on the far side of the court.
Correct you there. If it ricochets and caught, no one is out, but your team does get another player. It's what's called a team catch in dodgeball.
Grand Valley at center. State dodges on their end, now responding the other way back to center court. Austin Kozar, number 24, along with number 7, Tim Berkeley. Throw in, miss. Grand Valley responds with a throw. Remember, the captain, Mark Drupetti, got eliminated earlier in this point. This has been a long point, much lengthier than the first point we saw. Grand Valley really came out ready to go, and they got the first point. State seemed to have maybe some road jitters coming into Grand Valley, knowing that they've never beat the Lakers before. Now in their own home court, they're down 1-0. However, they've seemed to handle themselves much better here in point number 2.
Absolutely. They're showing their senior composure. Mark told us that they're a very senior-driven roster at Michigan State this year, so they're showing that composure right now and rebounding from that loss of an early point.
Grand Valley last game, who was because of scheduling issues, the last game was at Saginaw Valley. That was their only loss this season. They have a 3-1 record, and after playing a month, or not playing for a month, I was interested, Jordan, to see how Grand Valley would come out after laying off for an entire month. But clearly, so far today, they've responded pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark told us again that, you know, they practice 3 times a week, so they're definitely not used to. They're used to playing, but they're not used to playing in a full-on sanctioned match like this.
Play continues. GVSU up still 1-0 here. Number 34 for Grand Valley gets eliminated. That's Ryan Aberson's son. He gets eliminated. So GVSU clearly down here in point number 2. State has the advantage in players on the court right now. While the Lakers are up 1-0. This game could really shift in GVSU's direction, Jordan, if they can get some catches and get some players off the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. Closing in on 10 minutes left in the half. And, you know, GVSU's down not a considerable amount, but down just enough to make a difference right now. And it would really help them if they could get some catches.
Grand Valley, of course, one of the more traditional programs, one of the founding members of the NCDA, the National Collegiate Dodgeball Association. We see Grand Valley's attack. On the other side, all those throws are misses. GVSU is going to have to retreat. They've got 4 national championships in their history, and they've reached the Final Four the past few seasons as well. So one of the powerhouses of the schools that play in this national league. And right now, although they're ranked number 6, they certainly are playing much better than that ranking shows.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned those 4 national championships, 2 of those coming back-to-back in 2009 and 2010.
Grand Valley responding now out to center. All dodges there by State. GVSU has a couple players on the near side part of the court still controlling balls. It's interesting to me, too, Jordan, as we get really our first look at this game is how much strategy goes in. It's not just pick up a ball and throw it. There's a lot of precision in where you want to place your throw and when you want to throw it.
Absolutely. We've heard Mark multiple times from the sideline call to his teammates, pick a target and throw. You don't want to just throw wildly and hope you hit somebody. A lot of times you really want to have everyone aim at the same person and try and get that person out, especially if they have a hot hand.
Under 9:30 remaining in the first half. Remember, if Grand Valley, if they don't get eliminated, no points are awarded at the end of the half. So a possibility we may face if this point continues where we could end the first half with it being 1-0, although a Grand Valley player has just been eliminated.
Can't see his number right now. That is number 11 for Grand Valley. That has been eliminated.
Ryan Knight has been eliminated for GVSU. So Michigan State closing in now. 6 players still alive for the Lakers. Or excuse me, 7 players still alive. Michigan State has a slight advantage with 9 on the court. Right now at center, 5 are holding balls. State on the left side throw. Respond quickly by Grand Valley as State retreats.
Once again, you hear Mark Trippetti, captain of the GVSU dodgeball team, barking orders from his jail position. That is what that is called when the players are standing off the side once they have been eliminated. That is called the jail.
So a cat and mouse game right now here in point number 2. The Lakers picked up a quick first point. Only took them about a little over 5 minutes to take the first point lead here today. Right now they're about pretty even, and when State came out here in point number 2, they had the advantage. Grand Valley down right now, but looking to respond. And there's a catch, and a player comes back in, so that will hurt GVSU's chances here in point number 2. That's number 20 for the Spartans. Andy Lipcher makes the catch. And again, if you catch a ball, not only is the thrower out, but one of your players off the bench or the jail comes right back into the game. So that's a 2-player swing in this situation for the Spartans, and their first point of the day is certainly looking more promising. Another Grand Valley Laker has been eliminated. All right, sometimes it's really difficult to tell whether or not balls are hit. And yes, a Laker has been eliminated for GVSU. That's double zeros. Scott St. John, the freshman from Manistee, Michigan.
You know, the thing I find really amazing about this game is that you don't necessarily need to be a senior to be a star on these teams, you know. There's a good mix of upperclassmen and young guys on both of these rosters.
Lakers down to 5 players. Michigan State looking to close in this game. And, of course, you'd like to think Grand Valley can hold on and eliminate this half. They just got a kill, though. That's number 87 for Michigan State. Sam Hiller, the senior, has been eliminated. So GVSU certainly not out of it here. But when you see Michigan State does not retreat when they're at center, that's not a good sign for the Lakers. Although here they go, GVSU holding balls and throwing. State responding now. There's another kill. Grand Valley now down to 3 players. And we get a whistle in the action as number 24, as Dylan Fetgig got eliminated. So GVSU, I believe, has called a timeout. So
I believe that is right.
So the Lakers are going to take a timeout now as they're down to 3 players remaining on the court. Michigan State looking to pick up their first point today. Lakers up 1-0 with 6:15 remaining in the first half. And Jordan, the Lakers are down by 3. They've got 6 minutes remaining. It's certainly looking pretty dire for them right now on this point.
Yeah, it is. But you know, I definitely have faith in the Lakers. You know, they have been in this position before, I believe, and I think they can, if they can get some catches, they can really, really come back and change the tide of this game, at this point, excuse me.
Lakers, when they lost to Saginaw Valley about a month ago, Mark Trippetti was quoted by saying the loss is always disappointing, but some good things came out of the match. We were able to play a lot of our younger players, and we got our first taste of they got the first taste of the Saginaw GVSU rivalry. And today, this game is certainly more contested than we really knew what to expect today, as the Lakers beat Michigan State every time they've ever played them. And today the Spartans came in with a higher national ranking. They came in with the number 3 ranking. The Lakers came in with the number 6 ranking. And right now they're up 1-0. And the Spartans clearly have the advantage right now. 4 players alive for the Lakers. I was wrong earlier when I said 3. 4 players are alive. We're going to get the restart after the timeout. All Lakers have balls in their hands. Michigan State comes out to center. Grand Valley, though, applying pressure with only 4 players, and they quickly retreat.
Yeah, they just wanted to push up and get that ball thrown so they can get their shot clock reset. And there you see another ball thrown to reset that shot clock.
Yeah, it's something to remember when you're under 10 players. The shot clock reduces down to, or excuse me, when you have a 15-second shot clock. When you have the normal amount of players, the shot clock gets reduced when you have less number of players on the court. So there's always something to remember as another Laker gets eliminated. Number 71, Aaron Terezi gets eliminated for GVSU. So now they're down to 3 players with 5:32 and counting on the first half clock.
Yeah, and I expect Michigan State to try and stockpile up on some balls here and then get a full-on push as you see another Grand Valley player eliminated, number
Kevin
32 there.
Bacchus got eliminated. That's a catch and swing for the Spartans. So another player comes in as Bacchus goes out. 2 players left, splitting the court. Number 22, Austin Morley, and number 16 for the Lakers, Pat Talsma. Talsma, nice block there on his own end. Lakers trying to survive this first half with a 1-point lead, but they have to survive for another 5 minutes without being eliminated. Michigan State, Lakers got another kill there. That's number 6 for the Spartans, got eliminated. Mike Van Erman heads to the bench, although clearly not going to hurt the Spartans' chances here. They have plenty of players still alive. Morley still alive, some officiating. Spartans thought they eliminated Morley, but he does not think so, and we're going to get the officiating call.
Official call is that he's safe. He trapped it between the ball he had in his hand and the body, so that is a safe trap and a safe block.
Lakers still alive here, but they're down to 2. Pat Talsma and Austin Morley, and it looks like the referee has called Talsma out. So Morley's the only player left. He just got a kill, but he's the only Laker left on the court, and he's applying pressure here. Morley well into neutral territory. Now he's all alone. Retreating back to his own end. Spartans 1 player or 1 kill away, I should say, from scoring their first point today.
And if the Spartans do get this point, it will set up a frantic final match, final few minutes to see if there's somebody can get a point before the end of the half.
3:38 remaining in the first half, and there's a quick throw by, he has no ball, and he is eliminated. Spartans pick up the point. 3:33 remaining in the first half, and we're tied after the Lakers picked up the first point today. The Spartans respond a long point number 2. They really slowed down the game, and really exactly what Mark said earlier today. If the game was quick, that's GVSU's favors, and we saw a very quick point number 1. The Lakers scored that point. If the game slows down, that's in the Spartans' favor. A very slow point number 2, and the Spartans tied it up in point number 2.
Absolutely. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see if the Spartans try and push the pace. Actually, what's going to happen is we're going to take our halftime here, and we're going to assess those 3:33 onto the second half. So we're going to have a 28-minute second half for you when we come back.
Yeah, so again, the rule in dodgeball, if you are under 5 minutes and a point is scored, that remaining clock is put on to the second half, and we take the halftime with the extra time put on to the 25 minutes. So we're going to take a break. We will come back for half number 2. We're all knotted up here at GVSU's Fieldhouse. Lakers and Spartans knotted up at 1. You're listening to the first ever sports broadcast here on GVTV. I'm Dan Spadafora. He's Jordan Boze. We'll be right back.